Hi, this is Steve, and I want to welcome you to another episode of the Tech Leader Talk podcast. Are you leveraging the power of quantum technology and artificial intelligence in your business? If not, then today's guest is going to explain these critical technologies and how they can dramatically improve your business. So today I'm talking with Beatriz Sanz, who's the Global Data and Artificial Intelligence Leader for EY Consulting. And EY is Ernst Young. Beatriz holds a master's degree in mathematics and statistics. She's a regular speaker at international industry conferences, and she's been featured in Forbes and the Financial Times. During our discussion, Beatriz shares information about quantum technology and artificial intelligence, which she believes are two of the most disruptive technologies of this century. So she's going to talk about how quantum adoption is going to increase in the coming years, and quantum algorithms will be integrated into all types of existing technologies. She also discusses 5 practical steps for companies to start using quantum technology in their businesses today. So I'm sure you're going to enjoy this discussion and get some valuable insights to leverage quantum computing and artificial intelligence in your own business. So let's get to the interview with Beatriz. Hi, Beatriz. Thank you for joining me on the podcast today.
Hi, Steve. My pleasure to be here with you today.
So I gave the audience a bit of a intro about you before we got on this part of the call, but tell us a little bit about kind of your journey. What got you to where you're at today, working with quantum technology and artificial intelligence?
So I've developed most of my career dealing with data and emerging technologies, looking at ways to use those in order to, help clients apply those for mostly for growth purposes, innovation and growth, expansion, new business models, etc. So that is my passion, to almost kind of combine the power of data and all the emerging technologies to harness growth.
Interesting. So I mentioned a little bit about quantum technology. I'm sure some of the listeners have heard of it, but may not know a lot about it. Tell us what quantum technology is, just so we all kind of have a basic understanding.
Yeah, it's good starting. Quantum is a rapid emerging technology that harnesses the laws of quantum mechanisms to solve problems that go beyond those that previous computers and supercomputers had the capability to troubleshoot. Today this technology is able to simulate complex systems to the extent that could transform businesses across a variety of industries. It's a bit similar in some sense of what we are seeing or experiencing today with AI.
Okay, so to be honest, I'm an electrical engineer, but I don't know a lot about quantum computing. I read some of the articles and things, and I see some of the really big computer manufacturers talking about their breakthroughs and what's coming next. Is this something just for, I'm picturing these massive computing systems that are doing the quantum technology, quantum computing. Can it be done on a smaller scale for a smaller company, or to be distributed across multiple companies?
Absolutely. We will see a significant change in the next 5 to 10 years, basically into directions. Adoption will increase. It will be facilitated by, I think, the spread of hybrid architectures that will enable somehow quantum algorithms to be adopted and to seamlessly kind of be integrated and implemented in systems that play with classical computing, but that deal with complex vendors ecosystem and quant. So it's a way we'll simplify the hybrid architectures, the adoption. At the same time, the technology will mature quite a lot in the next 5. Actually, I think we recently made a survey, and 81% of the UK companies say that by 2030, quantum will be a technology massively adopted by, most enterprises. So will disrupting quite significantly, some businesses as the way we know today. It will actually, I think, will reduce barriers of entry. A bit similar, what's happening with AI. Cost of IT progressively is coming down. There's less need for software development, etc. And with that, the opportunities for the expansion of the mid-market, increase. I think that integration of, quantum coming together with AI in the next 3 to 5 years will actually enable small, medium enterprises really enter into spaces that, today are somehow prohibited because of the cost of technology or labor costs, etc.
Okay, it's interesting. So is this requiring new types, being an electrical engineer on the hardware side of things, does this require new types of chips and new types of hardware, or is it more in the algorithms and the approach to solving computing issues?
It's a bit of both.
Okay.
I think the conversation now is on, while the technology matures, is like how can quantum algorithms be performed somehow in more classical or computers or supercomputers. Okay. This is some of the principles. And it's a great way to start because there are significant impacts and improvements in any problem related with optimization, supply chain, personalization, simulation. Is something that is there. Also, when you think about the quantum security as well, and companies preparing for that quantum safety now, I think is required. So, in a sense, there's a way of, it's the evolution or it's the integration of quantum algorithms into existing hardware or architectures. At the same time, obviously, there's huge evolution or huge R&D at the moment, which actually as well, I believe it will speed up with the recent development on AI. We will see new coming hardwares and computers that will basically, will be powered by quantums evolving from the classical bits to the qubits.
Okay, interesting. It's going to be exciting to watch that continue to develop. I saw an article the other day talking about how quantum computing system, the hardware systems, it would make sense to have some of those in orbit around the Earth because it's so cold, and because the amount of heat they generate, it's naturally cooled by the vacuum of space. So
that's interesting.
All kinds of interesting opportunities.
Yeah.
So you mentioned a little bit earlier about a hybrid architecture, and just so I'm clear, is that so companies today that maybe aren't really using quantum technology yet, is that a way for them to start transitioning to it without just getting rid of all the legacy systems?
Exactly. That's the purpose of that hybrid architecture, something you place kind of on top of to remove some of the complexities, and almost kind of to allow the integration of, quantum algorithms somehow in the current or the existing kind of legacy. I think everybody's conscious that, you can't get rid of your 50, 20, 40, whatever years of legacy. There's a transition. And that's why I think it's and it's something quite new, by the way, but it can definitely help almost kind of simplify the complexity of dealing with multiple vendors, of dealing with multiple kind of types of computers. That hybrid architecture sitting on top is actually the path we are seeing for and clients adopting.
Okay. So if a company, somebody who's listening, is just a small or medium-sized tech company, and they haven't really looked at quantum technology yet, kind of what's their first step, or what's the first thing they could be thinking about to start kind of that hybrid creation process?
Well, I think in terms of the steps for a company to think how to approach, I think they could be thinking on 5 steps, practical steps. I mean, first is the expose of the intersection of quantum with the strategic business plans. Yeah. Obviously, there are some use cases where quantum fits better than others. I think there's also assess readiness, and with that, it will come the implementation, the architecture, the rethink of these hybrid architectures. So this is not a big bang. This is something like an intermediate step, so that you can start kind of playing with quantum algorithms with existing architectures. Then it's important for companies to strengthen somehow the cyber defenses. I mentioned before around cyber security, like it is somehow there are some critical forms of cryptography that will be vulnerable to quantum. It's important to put this defense now, and some savvy organizations are already implementing. So that would be almost like the third step. And the fourth to me would be the development of a quantum ecosystem of partners. Again, this is not something to kind of go alone, but in ecosystem. Again, similar to AI, there's so much like in today's world, like an average, transformation engagement will require at least 4 or 5 vendors. Like it's the new norm to work in the ecosystem. And the last for me would be almost going to scan the horizon for quantum disruption. In the case of this is not anymore about re-engineering your current business or re-engineer, but reinventing it. When you think bold, when you think about the in this century, the 2 biggest disruptions, will be the revolution on AI and the revolution of quantum. There's another one, which is the bioscience, and all these revolutions are happening kind of at the same time. Actually, we may see new forms of life in the next, less than the next 50 years. But I think when you explore, and that intersection of, AI and quantum, it's not anymore about re-engineering. The existing is about completely, thinking beyond about new business models. We'll see simplification to the maximum. We'll see personalization as well to the maximum, and the speed of execution.
That's interesting. And you mentioned about cybersecurity, and I had seen an article, I don't remember the names of the companies, but you said some are being proactive now, that a lot of companies that are securing some of their data using the most advanced systems today, in a few years when quantum computing gets stronger, that'll be broken in a matter of seconds or minutes. So how are they staying a step ahead of that? Are there new encryption techniques, or how do they prevent the future quantum-based hackers?
Well, quantum safe, yes, there are new encryption standards coming to the market. Actually, at EY, we have launched a solution on that. We're not the only ones. And some savvy organizations are assessing the potential exposure to quantum cyber attacking now, and implementing this new crypto ways to encrypt data in a quantum safe manner. So there are ways, very, very creative and very complex. There's the range of there are some complex systems around it, but yes, it's out there. It's out there already.
Okay.
And you look at industries like defense, for example, or health. There are industries where this is now well advanced.
Okay, interesting. I guess when it comes to security, it's always trying to stay one step ahead. It's you never get to a point where it's safe and secure and you don't think about it anymore. But
yeah.
So you mentioned there'd be multiple vendors as quantum technology expands and there's more vendors and more service providers. What are some of the perhaps new types of services that we may see around quantum technology that's different than what we've seen with the previous technology?
Well, if we look at use cases or real applications, one of the beauties of, or one of the key characteristics of quantum is that it touches the heart of industries. Like if you think, for example, pharma, quantum will go deep into clinical trials, drug development, again, with all these simulation and the ability to solve complex problems. If you go supply chain, for example, it will touch the heart of logistics. If you think of, for example, asset management, the world of risk will be kind of reinvented. So I think use cases will expand very, very rapidly. I think there's some analogy to what is happening today with AI, in the sense like how quickly this technology has been adopted. It's clear, like the advances and the benefits that it produced, the easy kind of ways to access to it. It has contributed to kind of that fast adoption. Quantum, we'll see the quantum impacts in the space of the enterprise. That will be kind of equivalent, because the advances of quantum compared to the ones that, will be huge. So we expect a similar kind of adoption in terms of speed, in the world of the enterprise. So there are, we are seeing a progressively, again, back to that point of that survey, we are less than 7 years away from that. And the statement is clear. It's like 80% of companies adopting quantum. So it's the range of use cases, again, will expand, mostly because it touches the heart and the core processes of kind of nearly every sector.
That's interesting. So every business should be thinking about this or getting ready for it. So
yes.
You've mentioned a couple times the two of the biggest disruptive technologies of this century are quantum technology and artificial intelligence. What's the connection, or how do those two kind of intersect and strengthen each other?
Well, we will see quantum machine learning algorithms, where we are seeing kind of them already. So quantum somehow will empower and will enable the process even largest amounts of data and solving even more complex problems. So, for example, if you think about the genomic kind of sequencing patterns, I think with AI, we have seen a huge evolution on, that level of personalization, the ability to compute that. With quantum, we will see kind of the next level, because it will be computed even much more faster, but with a much more depth. So if the two of them, AI, especially if we talk generative AI, what it does is basically solves in a fraction of time problems that require the resolution through a certain sequence of order. So, for example, I mean, you first do a data gathering or a research, you put them in a database, and just to answer a simple question or create a simple insights. Like Gen AI brings or is able to execute things that were required to be done sequentially in once. Now, quantum, what we'll do is we'll enable to go much deeper and even to augment the ability, the computational power in order to be able to solve even more complex problems. So it will take deep learning and generative AI as a type of deep learning to the next level. Somehow there are some limitations in terms of, power computing. Actually, there are not enough CPUs in the world at the moment. That is the bottleneck. So I think quantum is almost like a lateral way to solve that problem.
Okay. So it's a new technology or new architecture that's going to run at significant multiples above what current processors can do, and just allow AI to, like I just said, go deeper, look at larger amounts of data, analyze it, and find the trends and the patterns even faster.
Complex problems, exactly.
Yeah, something today that I suppose might take weeks or months that will be able to do much faster.
Not even possible. I think, for example, you take the industry again, any health, wealth, and asset management. There are complex problems that are not even able to solve today, even with AI. Like the stock market, that there are problems that are, despite or even with Gen AI, we're not able to solve today. I think the ability to solve complex problems and the ability to go much, much deeper. This is something that will come with the intersection of these two technologies coming together.
That's exciting. Yeah, to think about, I suppose, trying to model the stock market or something like that. That's a massive problem. Or looking at health issues and finding patterns between different diseases or drugs or whatever it might be.
Exactly.
Yeah, to have that kind of a power to do things we can't do today could have some amazing breakthroughs or find some amazing patterns. Interesting. So if a company, we're talking about the hybrid a little bit, maybe they're using AI now and they want to start moving towards adding some quantum technology. Should they be looking for a vendor that can kind of help them start adding those services? How does a company kind of get started with adding that component to their business?
Yes, I think starting these journeys, going along today. Again, I mentioned the new ways of working. Average a kind of problem solving requires 3-4 partners, and I think this is a journey where I would not recommend to start alone. Basically, I mean, first, it's I think these technologies are getting required to deep specialization, deep knowledge, and talent. It's not only the hardware, it's not only the software, is also to be surrounded by the right talent. For example, to assess on ways to transition. I mentioned that hybrid architecture, ways to transition. I mean, sometimes the knowledge to frame these architectures is not in every single organization. So because of talent, because of, the need for, computational kind of power, I would definitely say that, this is a path to do in partnership or in ecosystem.
Okay. And I presume that would make it easier to scale then, if you're if your vendor or your partners can scale, then they can kind of help you with that a little more seamlessly than you trying to do it yourself. And like you mentioned, you don't have that expertise. Get someone who does and
100%.
stays on top of it.
And especially, I mentioned we are at such an interesting point in history. We will see industries completely reinventing new workflows. I think the ability to work in partnership can expose you as well to also what other industries are doing. We'll see industries blurring, and I think the next 5 to 10 years are going to be, just so exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And each time, the more you are exposed to what others are doing, the better, to connect the dots and to reimagine your own business.
Mm-hmm.
Or even to challenge your own business because others might be, taking it. So I think it's time to really work in partnership.
Okay. You've mentioned there's a lot of growth opportunities, and it's going to be exciting 5 to 10 years and beyond. What are the challenges that are facing quantum technology and the adoption of it today?
Well, in the case is the technology itself, that it's the technology needs to mature and it's needs capital. Now all capital is going to AI. That will have an impact.
Sure.
Actually, we had these conversations like 6 months ago or 7 months ago. Probably, quantum was in the top 3 things. Now it's all AI, and we are seeing all the capital and the venture funds all investing in AI, and which I think is actually the time to invest in quantum, basically, because that's happening already. A new form of intelligence have been created. And so now we need the computational power to manage that intelligence. I think also quantum should be the priority, but capital, it's maybe a challenge. I mentioned talent as well. It's very, very hard to find the right, quantum experts and talent. I think every 100 data scientists, you find like one quantum so the scarcity of talent is going to be an issue. Again, another reason to work in partnership and to get ready, because I mentioned, like, when it comes, it will come fast and adoption will be fast. And having your architectures ready, but having the talent ready, it's also important. The sooner you start, the more you can get exposed. Your employees or can get exposed and can start absorbing that talent. For me, these are the 2 main issues.
Okay. Well, you mentioned all the capital going into AI, and we see that in the news every day. But maybe that's going to get to a point where the AI gets bottlenecked on the hardware. It already is, and so then maybe some of that capital will shift to the quantum to support the AI so that it can do what it's been promised to do and beyond.
And this will happen sooner than what we expect. This will happen sooner than what we expect. Because the adoption of AI keeps on increasing. The issue on, not just because the issue of bottleneck on the CPUs, that's absolutely true. But at the same time, because very soon, that computational power will become an issue to leverage AI this new form of intelligence to its full extent.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's exciting.
Are you just to be thought provoking? So just to be thought provoking, for example, like, are you ready? To get think about education. We take years and years and years to learn like this fraction. Will you be open to get a chip to get smarter? things like that, like a complete reinvention of industries, will require quantum to be. That is the intersection that I was talking before, and the level of disruption that we are, we will see. I mean, maybe not this generation or next generation, but in the 2 generations will come. Or I mentioned before, the new forms of life. This is the kind of this revolution of AI, genetics, and quantum happening together. It's very historical.
Yeah, that's exciting. What's the favorite part of your current work today? Or you're involved in these cutting edge technologies, but what do you love the most?
Look, I think when I was a child, like if you wanted to leave some legacy, or have an impact, you either were a doctor or a lawyer or a professor. I think today, we are architects of the future world. The ones that work in AI and quantum and all these emerging technologies, we are architects. I think we have the responsibility as well to do it ethically. And so that's the part I like the most of my job, is to be able to leave as best kind of legacy as we can, being bold and thinking ethical and going execution.
Okay, that's great. Wonderful. I read lots of books, and I always like to ask guests what their favorite book is that they've read recently, fiction or nonfiction. Do you have a recent favorite?
Yes, I liked a lot the book of An Immersed World from Ernst Young. It's a completely different topic. It takes you to the world of animals and cells and how they rebuild. It's amazing. A lot that you can learn, how much you can learn from the world, from the animal world, to even know about us, especially in times of change. I found it fascinating.
Okay. I have not heard of that one. So thank you for sharing that. I will get the title and a link to the book in the show notes too. So any of the listeners who are interested, they'll be able to find that easily. What's in this fast moving technology? What's ahead for you and your team for the next year or so?
Well, we just got the ask to kind of really define the AI strategy, even for EY, for my own company, to transform our own company. So it's a program. We are very bold. We want to help clients, transform EY, and transform the world as well, with ethical and new standards around AI policies. So it's very, very bold. We have a journey ahead to reinvent industries and to reimagine industries, to disrupt our own business. We don't want others to do it. We want to, be play kind of that challenger role. And while doing that, we also want to make sure that we contribute into kind of establishing these ethical standards, these new kind of AI policies for governments and for citizens to adopt and adapt safely.
Okay, interesting. It's always great to use yourself as a test bed or a test place and
drink our own champagne. That's exactly the way we call it.
That's a better way to put it. Yeah,
champagne.
Very true.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's going to be exciting for you too, to continue applying the latest technologies in the organization that you work for, anyways, to provide a even bigger input to its clients and customers. That's great. What I'm sure some of the listeners will have some questions or kind of want to learn more about you, about EY and others. What's the best way they could reach out to you or just go find some more information about what you're working on these days?
Well, the EY site, ey.com. I will be there.
Okay.
And obviously, I mean, LinkedIn is quite easy to reach out. Yeah, everybody now has a digital footprint. But basically through the ey.com page.
Okay. And I'll put a link to that and a link also to your LinkedIn profile in the show notes, so the listeners can find those easily. Well, this was a great conversation, Beatriz. I appreciate you taking the time to talk and share your knowledge and share, I guess, the excitement about where this is, how early this is,
the passion,
and how fast things may start to change as the quantum technology continues to grow. So I appreciate your time and thanks for coming on the show today.
Thanks to you, Steve. It was a pleasure. And I hope more to come. Thank you.
Thanks.